Welcome to another episode of Visibility Era, the podcast. I'm at my mother's house in New Jersey right now. Bridget's also in Jersey. It is cold. I wasn't prepared for it at all. I'm in a turtleneck.
I
Like, I'm
know.
in a turtleneck. I haven't even taken out, I don't think I've worn anything but a tank top in like 3 months.
Oh, that's nice though.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, it's it's nice. I'm not gonna lie.
It's really nice. Where did you keep your turtleneck? Like, do you keep it here?
No, I have a little like bin of Christmas, not Christmas, like winter clothes with a lot of Christmas clothes in there. Like PJs and stuff that I'll take out, but I did secretly hide a few sweaters in the attic
Mm,
last year, and I didn't think my mom found it because she doesn't want like extra stuff in the house.
I
And
get
so
it.
last year I was like, I'm leaving this stuff here. There's no why I'm never gonna wear a turtleneck sweater in Florida. So I like hid a few things. And she's like, well, you have some stuff upstairs, though. Like, shit, she found it.
I wish everyone could also meet your mom who's listening to this right now because you do like the perfect rendition of Marie.
Yes, she will be listening. She's probably hearing me in the other room, and she does listen to her podcast, which
Oh,
is
I
really
love
cute.
that.
Yeah,
That's so cute.
she'll
I
tell
think
me
my
she
dad does too. Remember I've
really.
told you like, or he'll answer our emails and be like, great episode, good girls.
My mom will be like, I watched you. She goes to YouTube.
Oh, see,
Yeah.
YouTube. Guys, let us know. I mean, we're actually getting more, I love the numbers. We're getting more downloads and listens on YouTube right now than the actual
Nice.
podcast platforms. Like, are people not podcast listening anymore? What's going
You
on?
know, I think a lot of our listeners are business people and they're in front of their computers all day. And I think they
Yeah.
like to like watch something while they're working.
Yeah. I
That's my
mean,
guess. I
I
do
watch
that.
YouTube all day. Yeah, I get it. We get it.
Yeah, we got it. So, anyway, today's episode is about reflecting on 2024. It's December 18th right now. Bridget's about to give birth. I
Mhm.
am, I don't even know, just hanging out,
You're giving birth to life.
giving birth to life. So Bridget, reflecting, where should we start?
I don't even know. I feel like this year has been very interesting for both of us.
Yeah.
In so many ways. First, I like can't believe I'm pregnant. I've been pregnant for most of the year. That has definitely shifted things, but maybe we do some categories and we have some categories that we go through and then we can reflect on each of
Yeah.
those categories.
Great idea. So when we were thinking about it this morning, we were both just thinking about like what are our overall themes? And Bridget and I end up going through kind of the same challenges together. What we've noticed over the years is like I obviously like we're going through things together because we have a business together, and so we're both experiencing the same thing with that. But we just so happen to like I think just like be on similar life paths,
I
which
think so
is
too.
yeah, like there's no coincidence here. Like we were meant to definitely be on this journey together these past few years.
Mhm.
So this past year has been a lot about letting go and flow and support. Those were the themes.
Support. That one's so interesting. I feel like even this year, so how long have we had this business? Maybe 2 years, but we've been collaborating for maybe four at this point, 3 or 4.
Yeah, been a lot of years of collaboration.
Yeah, I feel like even this year, like we started to find like our roles in a way. Not that there's still overlap between what we both do, but I think we were able to like deepen our trust within each other of like, okay, hey, you do this, and like I don't need to think about it. Like
Yeah.
if you need to take a call and I'm not there, whatever choice you make, whatever you say, like I trust 100%. So I feel like that level of support between the two of us has been really nice because it's felt lighter than to like run a business together where we're not both doing the same thing.
No, I totally agree. And it's funny, I don't think I've ever had this type of like ease with somebody else in decision making in general, like in my
Yeah.
life. I
Yeah.
mean, of course I like trust and support like Spencer and whatever he does,
Yeah.
but like we're also so different, which I think is why we're opposites attract. So different, but I think you and I are very different in certain ways, and then we also are almost always on
Very
the same
similar.
wavelength.
Yeah.
Yeah, when it comes to like decision making, or I think we're both very good at like zooming out and seeing important pieces that kind of go together. And so
Yep.
I don't think we get too lost in the details. I mean, I can when it comes to like aesthetics and things like that, like graphics,
Canva.
Canva. But when it comes to like the nitty-gritty of things, like we'll just zoom out and be like, oh, okay, I can clearly see we need to do X, Y, and Z versus like getting stuck in the weeds. And even if we do get stuck in the weeds, we kind of are very good at like bouncing back and being like,
Yeah.
we'll like get lost in the chaos for like a few hours, and then we're like, actually, you know what? Never mind. We need to do this instead.
Totally, totally. And even I think one thing they were both very good at is listening to, like, we had a situation come up recently where just listening to our intuition was really important and like something didn't feel right. So it wasn't like both of us were on separate wavelengths. Like we were actually very much feeling the same exact thing. And I think that was also just like a testament to our relationship and being able to just kind of decipher things that are not just analytical.
Yeah. We should share it. I think it's really important to share stuff like that. Okay, so we're gonna share it. She's looking at me like, do you want
Without
to?
naming names.
We're not naming names. We had a potential client that was going to be a huge client for us. It's going to be like PR work, consulting really as well on like their brand messaging. And we had it's a big brand. So we had a call with a team member in November. Then we had another call with another team member scheduled. They ended up canceling on us an hour before, which was, I think, just really unprofessional because it wasn't like the reasoning was kind of silly. It was like a personal issue, which
Forgot about
what,
that.
yeah, I did not. I was like, oh, okay, you could have easily like scheduled around this, but that's
You're like
fine.
tallying.
Yep, yep. Like tallying. Then we ended up having eventually a call the following week with the other team member. They were honestly really difficult. And the reason being is I think this team member is a newer person, felt like he was trying to still prove himself to the company and then also wasn't trusting us in our work. And so it put us in a weird position of feeling like we needed to defend our work, even though we have so much experience.
And like
And
prove. It was just like prove ourselves. It was just like weird energy. I'm like, this is not,
to be
no.
honest, it felt a lot of mansplaining and like,
What does
which
that mean? I do hear
it's
people say that.
mansplaining, where they basically, the men explain something to us that we already know in
Mm.
a way that is very condescending. And it's
Mm.
just like, yeah, I know, bro. Like,
Yeah.
what are we doing here? And it feels very much like talking down to somebody without talking down to them kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, And I don't really like to do that kind of stuff, like put people in gender roles or whatever, but it felt very mansplaining. I'm a guy, I know more, whatever. So anyway, that stuff still exists and it's really annoying when it happens. And
I
we,
just feel like we were talking in circles on the call. I was like, I literally can't be up in there. I also think because I'm pregnant, I have like a little bit less care for like bullshit right now. Like I just like don't
yes, your
give a
bullshit meter is
shit.
just like, no, thank you.
I'm like, I'm not, absolutely not. Like, no.
It was really annoying. It was really annoying. And so we ended up getting off the phone and both of us voice noted each other and we're like, I don't know, that felt weird, but like still wanted to move forward with the project because we loved the brand, we loved the messaging, and we really enjoyed speaking with the original contact that we
Yeah.
spoke to back in
Yes.
November. So anyways, it's now what it was like 2.5 weeks where we were going back and forth and he was asking a ton of questions and trying to make us prove our trust yet again, and then decided that he wanted to do a test run for a few months before committing to the original offer that we had sent them, and
I
we
was like,
sent
Lydia,
the
did you
time
even
frame.
offer that?
No, and we sent the time frame for a reason.
Yeah.
So long story short, it was hard, but we decided, both of us decided, we're gonna actually send him a little cute breakup letter because this is just not feeling aligned. And if anyone, any business owner, any entrepreneur out there, like it's really hard to turn down a client when the money
Yeah.
is really good, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like this was gonna be our highest paying client ever.
It's so funny because my mom was here yesterday and she was taking a call and I'm like laying on the couch. I was basically half asleep, but I'm listening to the interaction and I'm like, oh my God, this person is going to be really challenging if she
Hmm.
signs up to work with her. Um, she was blaming other practitioners for her. It was just like victim. It was not good. Not good energy. And after she got off the call, I was like, Mom, like, how did that feel for you? And she was like, immediate red flag. She was like, I would never want to work with a person like that because I know that they would be challenging the entire time. And it's even interesting for me to like listen in on the call
Yeah.
because I was like sitting there and she like beautifully kind of guided the conversation where she was not gonna, she didn't offer her services basically.
Wow.
Like she
Good.
offered a different solution, but where they would not be working intimately because she was like, I know that this person and I will not jive. And I feel like this is where our intuition as business owners really does come in. And you
Yeah.
get that feeling. Like, I believe that there's someone for everyone, and there's going to be a right company, a right PR company to support this brand that we ended up saying no to. There's also going to be a right practitioner, health practitioner to help this woman that my mom talked to, but it doesn't have to be us all the time, even if money's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And I was even thinking about the money too. And I'm like, damn, we just like literally said goodbye to $24,000. We were like, now we're good. Actually, never mind. Like,
Yeah.
which is a really strong, strong thing to a strong stance for us. Like, I honestly felt really good when we said no. I was like, damn, look at us.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, no space.
Do you think that your intuition has gotten better since you've been pregos?
That's interesting.
Hmm.
Haven't really reflected on it. Hmm.
Well, because you said like your bullshit meter is kind of like
It's
a,
definitely higher. So maybe I'm
yeah.
listening. I think probably I'm listening to those cues like more as truth.
Yeah, like I
Whereas
think
maybe
it,
before I wouldn't
yeah, like I think
listen
it
so
puts you
much.
into a different perspective of like what's important and what's not. And you're like, you know what? I got other things to worry about. No thanks.
I mean, I do think this like makes you look at your priorities, right?
Yeah.
I've been like, okay, what matters to me? It's like not feeling stressed. Like I've been really trying to minimize stress, and it's funny because it's the 18th. This was supposed to be my last day of like teaching yoga, and I like really pushed it until the end. And as I've gotten closer, I've been sick. I've been had sciatic pain. Like my body's been screaming at me. Like I haven't been crawling on the ground. It's been a fun time. My body's been screaming at me, and it's like I have to listen.
Yeah.
So there's definitely like my priorities have shifted.
I think you're a very ambitious person, which is like a blessing and also a curse. Like you crack me up. I was talking to one of my girlfriends this past weekend. I'm like, Bridget is so funny. Like she is like, yeah, we'll schedule a call in December. We'll do this. I'm gonna do yoga. I'll have the baby on my lap in like a month, probably working. I'm like, we'll see, we'll see, which very well could be the
Yep.
case. But also, it's been interesting watching like you go through this and then also like I'm the same way. I
Yes.
literally am the same way. I
Yes.
pile things up. We'll even talk we talk every single morning and we're talking through our priority list usually in the mornings and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get to this and that and that blah, blah. I never finish my priority list. When have I ever finished it?
Sometimes you do. Sometimes
Sometimes,
you
I
do.
mean, I go through everything. I'll
Yeah.
finish some things, but I don't realize the time it takes to go through it.
Yep.
And it'll be like hours later, and I'm like, oh my God, I only got to like two items. And I think we're both such competitive people, just
Yep.
in our nature. So I'll be like, well, Bridget went through this. I need to get it done. So it definitely pushes us to be better. But when it comes to certain things like listening to our health, listening to
Yeah.
our body, we get a reality check. Definitely.
This has been the most like interesting revelation I feel like for me recently, especially because I've been like dealing with some of these like health things.
Hmm.
And I was talking to my therapist about it. I was like, one of my greatest qualities is my persistent, resilient, like tenacious nature. And it's also one of my worst qualities because I don't know when to stop, unless until my body's screaming at me. Like
Yeah.
I'm, third trimester of pregnancy, sick with a cold and flu, and then can't move my body and need support. And it's like, I feel like all of this is happening to humble me and to
Yeah.
kind of like break me down in a really healthy way. And I love like Christian devotional music. Did you know that about me? Like I love listening to like
I
Hillsong
feel
music.
like I feel like this past year both of us just went to Christ. No, like I get stuck on Christian talk all the time. Some of these people just like are preaching the right things. I absolutely love it.
Beautiful.
It's
It's
beautiful.
beautiful. Well, it's from my stint in my Lutheran youth group when I was like 15 years old, but I love Hillsong United. I know there's been some like stuff with that church, but they have beautiful music and there's a song called I Surrender, and I swear every time I listen to it, I bawl my eyes out. I've also been nonstop crying. Like
Oh.
literally so emotional lately. I'm like, what is happening?
Women out there, you know how it feels during our cycle. We're just experiencing this
All
for
of
an
it
extended period of time.
right now. So anyway, like back to that theme of support, I think, yeah,
Yeah,
we really leaned into that. We've leaned into each other. We've leaned into listening better to ourselves. And like, I don't know if you said this before we started recording or if we were on air, but you were like, I feel like the year prior we were a little bit more analytical with our decisions, and this year
yeah.
a little bit kind of more of a balance, more of a blend of both.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think we were so committed to like making this work last year. We were like, we're making it. And the two of us are so, again, ambitious. We don't know when to stop, resilient, whatever. But it's just funny thinking back at what we were looking at last year, which is very much like, where is our audience? Tools are we using? Like very much the
Wait,
strategy.
read some of those questions because
Okay.
it's funny because we had a video called like questions every business owner should ask themselves in like 2023 because we did this at the end of last year and it's funny to hear.
It is funny to hear. So here are the questions. Who's your target audience and how has it changed over the last year? Number two, what's shifted in your industry? Number three, who do you want to collaborate and partner with? Number four, what can you delegate? Five, what relationships are important to you in business? And six, what tools and platforms are you using right now to market your brand? And are you still working on that, or do you need to pivot? And so we're like, now that we're reflecting on it, it was just so funny because this morning I was thinking about like what should we talk about today? And I'm like, well, we had to experience flow, support, pivoting, detachment. And I'm looking at these questions of last year and they're so not that. We were talking
Yeah.
about business only.
Yeah. So interesting. We've had many things this year that like haven't gone our way in a
Yeah.
sense, At the beginning of 2024, we had this like incredible workshop plan for January in New Jersey. Now, that was a risk. That was a risk to begin with
We
because
didn't
that's
even think
usually
about the risk.
no,
We
we
were
didn't
like,
even
oh, it'll
think
be
about that.
perfect.
And the risk is that that time of year in New Jersey, like we usually don't get that much snow prior, like Christmas time, you might not actually get snow. It's really like January, February, beginning
Mhm.
of March where we get most of our like bad weather. And it just so happened that we planned this event, everyone bought tickets, signed up, yada yada, and we had to cancel because there was a huge snowstorm.
Like a huge snowstorm. I flew up from Florida to New Jersey, stayed at Bridget's house. We had a huge snowstorm. I had to get stuck there for an additional 2 days because flights weren't going out.
Yeah.
Then there was like a family member had passed away on your side.
Yep.
And so it was a lot of like, I felt like a burden. Like they told me over and over again. You and Eric were like, "You're not a burden. It's totally fine." I was like, "Whatever I could do to make your life easier. Do you guys need time? I'll go in the room." Like, and it was a lot of just detachment and like going with the flow.
Yeah.
Um, and I completely forgot about this piece. Bridget reminded me right before we logged on today, but she was like, "Remember I was supposed to come to Florida in July and like that didn't happen." I completely forgot. So we had a hurricane scare. Is that what happened? Or like, no, 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 there was issues with the computers.
The airlines like went down because of the computers. Yeah, it was like a tech thing.
Yeah. So in July, we had purchased an Airbnb for the weekend in like West Palm Beach, gorgeous location, right
There
near
was
the
like one of those
water.
floaties in the water, like those penguin, not penguin, unicorn floats. Like I was supposed to be
Flamingo.
floating, flamingo. I was supposed to be
She's actually
floating.
floating on a flamingo in like paradise, basically, tropical paradise. And we were so excited. And Bridget was like only in her first trimester or whatever, or like early stages of pregnancy.
Yeah.
And so you couldn't even tell. And we were like, okay, she has the energy. Like, we'll like film. We wanted to film together, um, pitch party, redo everything.
Oh my
Yeah,
God, I forgot that was the reason. I thought we were
that
just
was
gonna hang
the
out.
Well, that was like the original reason. Honestly, we probably just end up like going to dinner and hanging out. Like let's be like honest.
Didn't we
But
say that too as we started recording the content separately? We were like, wow, we would have never been able to get this done if we
never, never. We would have had to gone in separate rooms and like really just sat down and like we work best. We always joke around, we work best in like a wormhole
Yeah,
where we both will just kind of like put our heads down, get our work done separately, and then we'll come together and be like, this is what I did. And I
yeah.
love that about you because we both like have a similar working style. Um, but yeah, we had this like whole weekend planned and the computers went down. Bridget couldn't get to Florida. We were so bummed. I looked up every freaking like place that Frontier even flew out of because Spencer flies for Frontier.
Yeah.
So she was going to even come down on a buddy pass maybe. It was a whole thing. And then
And but that was an interesting experience because we were like pushing
we
so
were
hard. And I feel like
pushing.
that's where like our intuition guided us because we were like, this doesn't feel simple and easeful and light. Like we were trying everything, but it felt like forceful. It felt hard.
It was so hard. It was so hard. I was like, Bridget, would you drive to Philadelphia? Because you're
Like,
like,
no.
not really. That'll be like 2 hour drive. But yeah, we were coming up with like every possible solution. I was like, maybe you should just take a car down. Just kidding. Um,
Just
we
drive.
just drive. So we ended up canceling the whole trip. The Airbnb only gave us 50% of our money back, which was really annoying. And I
Yes.
understand that they're a business too, but we offered to even like switch dates. Like they wouldn't really be missing out on anything. One of their available dates like a week later, and they were just not into it. They like did not want to accommodate us, even though it wasn't our fault. And so that was a lesson of just detachment of being like,
Yeah.
cool, okay, I guess we'll just roll with it. This past year, we also reinvented so many pieces of visibility on purpose. We were constantly, I think every single month, we either revamped a program, got
Yeah.
rid of something,
Yeah.
we redid branding. We did redid our branding at the beginning of 2024 too.
Um, wow. Remember the
We did
disco
so
balls,
much.
everyone?
We still have some disco balls.
Now, every time I see a disco ball, I still love them. I went to Marshall's the other day, as one does, and they had a disco ball like ottoman. I was like,
This is a lot.
yeah. Like I don't hate it, but I probably wouldn't buy it.
No. Yeah, we went really like hard on the disco
Yeah.
balls.
Yeah.
We were basically in like the 60s, 70s,
Yeah. Yeah. Disco. Disco
80s.
life.
I
I
don't even
mean,
know. Disco life. So yeah, I think this past year we learned a lot about ourselves, and it wasn't what we were originally expecting, but it was really what we
yeah.
needed.
So, so true. I feel like we had launches that didn't do as well as like we created in our
Mhm.
mind. Just like little things did not always go our way, but we were still having a lot of fun. But
Yeah.
I think all those things did help us finally get to the point of like stepping back and saying, okay, what is working and what's not working? And having to be really
Mhm.
honest with ourselves about the answers to those questions because it's hard when you pour a lot of time into something and it's not going the way that you want it to go. And that then, God, it sounds like pregnancy. Everything in my life is pregnancy related. Sorry, everyone. Um, but like sometimes we need to step back and say, okay, like what's real here? What's
Mhm.
working? What's not working?
Yeah, so speaking of, Bridget has been talking a lot about how she's been getting stripped of everything that's not working in her life. And so we took a look at visibility on purpose. I think both of us are very good at creating new things, especially when something isn't working. We're like, oh, we'll just create something new.
Yeah.
And when we were looking at our freebies, our offers, we were like, why are we offering so much? And it's not focused and it's not doing that well. Like, I think when you split your attention in so many different directions,
Yes.
everything kind of slowly rises. Whereas if you focus on one thing, you can really, really give your attention or the attention necessary to move forward. So, anyway, we decided on really stripping down what isn't working. And I really appreciate Bridget in this because not everybody is as flexible as her. And so I will say we're pretty
Mm.
flexible and pretty like real with ourselves when things are not working. So we decided to get rid of a ton of freebies and programs. We looked at our
We had like
expenses,
10 funnels too. Like
so many
just like a
funnels.
lot. It was
Like so many.
overwhelming.
Speaking of funnels, like these 5 questions to ask yourself, or like six, whatever. That was a funnel. Like, why was
Yeah.
that a funnel?
Yeah.
I
Just
don't know.
funnel fun.
We were just having a good time. We were like, who wants to come into our world?
Yeah.
And so we took a look at everything and said, okay, like what do we actually need? So if you are thinking about your 2024 year, I think the biggest question to ask yourself is like, how do you just get rid of the clutter?
Yeah. I think this has been something that we've talked about with other business owners too. Like we've seen a theme of just like kind of the strip away. We've
Hmm.
tried to get rid of like a lot of expenses. We were like, what are we actually using? And what do we actually need here? Because it's not all the things that we have currently. And you know what it's interesting to think about? Like everything's on like subscription models these days. But remember like old school Microsoft Word, like you bought it once and you had it for life.
You bought it once and had it for life. Everyone wants a piece of the pie.
Yeah.
I feel like life is getting so expensive where it it is such an Aquarius age. I was thinking about this the other day where there's so many entry points to be an entrepreneur and a business owner, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Like anybody can come up with a business, but because of that, everyone wants to get paid.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be paid. Even influencers, like everybody wants to get paid. Micro influencers are demanding brand deals. They don't do anything for free anymore. Every single platform you're using is a subscription.
Yep.
And so with that, things get really expensive.
Real
And
quick.
so, real quick. And so we were looking at our expenses for last year, and we
Mhm.
were looking at them not only for visibility on purpose, but for ourselves.
Mhm.
I took away more than 50% of my expenses this year.
It's so wild. And like, did
What,
it change anything for you? Like, did you miss anything?
no. What about you?
I literally have no, I mean, in my own business, like I have no expenses at this point. Like pretty much nothing besides
Yeah.
like some software stuff like Zoom, Canva, like just
Right.
the bare minimum. I mean, I'm also in such a stripping away period of my identity too,
Mm.
which I'm happy to like share on here as well. Um, because I think this pregnancy for me has also made me ask myself hard questions, which is like, what do you have the creativity for? What do you have the energy for? What do you have the bandwidth for? Like, I've always liked to be the leader, and that's actually like my comfort zone, which is so weird because that's not for everyone. I think I don't just think, I'm entering a season where I like don't care to lead anything or
Mm.
anyone besides like myself and like my future family.
Yeah, I've been talking to our friend Jess
Mhm.
Abaco, if she's listening.
Hey, Jeff.
Um, I always, we always have these like hilarious like questions. We'll hang out on like a random Tuesday night. She'll just stop over and we're like, "What is life?" But
Good question.
we love to get deep. But anyway, she does the Gene Keys, she does human design, and I'm a 6 line in
Mm,
human design, which is a lot about zooming out and seeing like the big picture of things.
so
And
good at that.
oh my God, thanks, you too. And us coming into like our own in our 50s. So basically, I got like a long road, which is cute. So up
Maybe that's
until
why you say you feel like a grandma now. Like maybe you're already there,
maybe
you
I'm
know?
already there, but like up until 30, it's supposed to be a lot of trial and error. And
Mhm.
then from 30 to 50, we get into this phase where it's called like being up on the roof. I still don't really like understand that, but anyways, it's a phase of observation of all the things that we've tried, all the
Mhm.
lessons we've learned. And I go into more of like a cocoon
Mm,
phase of like it's a very inward phase. Still, you're still building and you're still outward, but the 6 line is the role model. And so basically you become this like wise person by 50. And it's just like all the lessons, and you're kind of like watching and observing other people, watching and observing yourself. And Bridget is a 5th line, which is also a very leadership line. So it's been interesting watching both of us in like leadership roles. I think we have become very like I guess like wise is the word. I don't know. We've been able to go on like more of a reflective kind
Yeah.
of like seeing things from above. I guess like a bird's eye view. That's what I'm trying
Yeah.
to get at. A
Yeah.
bird's eye view. And that has been really cool to be able to see. Like both of us are not really at this phase anymore where we're like, I need to be the best and be the leader and be the
Yeah.
one on the stage. And like I think we naturally are very good at those things. We're both very I think people always kind of see us as leaders. Like people come to us for advice and questions. Like we both
Mhm.
just naturally have that. But I think when you come into your own as a leader, it becomes more about just naturally being a leader for who you are and
Yeah.
less about being like a leader in everything that you're doing. It's just a
Yeah.
way of being as opposed to actually physically taking on that role.
1000%. Even like the cocoon thing that you were talking about, like that, especially the last maybe couple weeks, like that's more evident than ever. I'm like, I don't even want to do that much. I just want to kind of like
Yeah.
be in my own little bubble, be in my own little energy bubble, and reflect. And yeah, so there's definitely that energy. What do you think for you has been like the biggest change for you personally? Obviously, me, it's like pregnancy this year, but what do you think for you?
I think I've just stopped giving a shit. Like
Oh,
in
great.
in a beautiful way
Yeah.
where I came out of the secret closet. So the beginning of this year, like the beginning of this year, I realized that I was throwing a lot of money at my problems. So speaking of stripping away a lot, last year, if something wasn't working in a business or in a this or in a that, I was like, okay, I'll get into a coaching program or I'll
Mm,
buy this new program that's going to be the answer or I'll buy this new this or I will figure it out this way. And it was a lot of forcing energy. And the top of this year, I had to really strip away things that weren't working and being really honest with myself.
yeah.
One of those was letting a virtual assistant go because I just didn't have the funds or honestly like the work to give her.
Mm,
Um, and so that was really hard because I really enjoyed working with her. And I also got a second job, which
mhm,
nobody knew about for months. And then one day I was just like, by the way, I work as a bartender like a few nights a week at a brewery.
mhm.
And it's, yeah, what were you gonna say?
I don't even know. I was gonna say like I think the challenge with an online business is like we're online all day. Like
Yeah.
you having social interaction with humans in the physical form is so
Blessing.
nurturing. Yeah.
Blessing. So it's been really humbling in that I had to be like okay with getting a second job.
Yeah.
Like that actually felt a lot like failing to me.
Yeah, that's so deep. Yeah, absolutely. I could see that.
And I was embarrassed about it because I got this job in May and the first question people started asking me when I got it was, "Ooh, your business probably isn't doing well, huh? You need
Mhm.
to get a second job." Where it honestly was more about I would have been fine if I didn't get a second job in terms of finances. Even though I was going through like some financial challenges and obstacles and things, like I'm very good at like figuring it out on
Yeah.
paper, but it was more about support. Speaking of support, it was
Mhm.
just like I wanted something that was a guarantee paycheck where no matter what happened, ups and downs, because we're always on contracts with clients. I'm personally on contracts with clients. I would have something stable where I knew I was making X amount of dollars if I worked this much every single month. And so I wanted something like that. And then when I got there, I didn't realize how much I was like craving in person, literally anything.
Yeah.
Like I was like telling you, like every time I came home, I like had something that my coworkers said, or like I was just like reflecting on the different people. And I really loved being around. I still love being around. I don't know if I'll ever get rid of this job. Like next year is looking pretty fruitful in terms of finances. And I want to keep it because
Yeah.
I get to be around so many different relationships and like not relationships, personalities,
Yeah.
have so many different relationships with different personalities. Like the people that work there, everybody kind of is on like a second job vibe. Like it's no one's full-time gig.
Yeah.
And so there's so many different people there that are there for different reasons. We have a lot of college students that are working at the brewery. We have a lot of people that are in my situation where they have a full-time job, whether they're an entrepreneur or they work somewhere else and they just like to do this on the weekends or
Yeah.
after work hours. And then I also have some other coworkers that are in a huge range of age between 30 to honestly 60. I think there's a guy, actually, I think he's like 65, like older gentleman,
Mhm.
working as a server for like the banquet stuff. And everyone's just kind of like, there's a lot of different reasons why
Yeah.
people are there. And it could be that some of them have like a ton of different jobs. Like one of them has like four jobs.
Wow.
Or like family that they just want to support and they want like an additional income stream. So it's been very cool to be surrounded by different types of people in different situations and to just see the interactions. And I've told you this a million times, my bosses are so incredibly patient and
Mhm.
really good leaders. I've learned so much from them.
I love that. And I think this is like a good conversation too, because most of you listening to the show are business owners or entrepreneurs. And I do think most of us have somehow accepted this story that to get a regular job is and equates to failure. And it just like doesn't. I feel like that's one of the stories that I've also had to like completely release and let go of because I have this feeling after this baby comes, I'm gonna want something more like that. Like I don't
Mhm.
want to deal with where the sale's coming from. Like I already can tell I don't have the energy for it. I don't give a shit. I just don't give a shit. That's really what it comes down to.
Join me, Bridget. We just don't give a shit,
I just
honestly.
don't give.
And I think what we can also really remember is there's seasons. Like
Yes.
I might not want this job next year, even though I'm like, I'll never get rid of it. There's seasons where this was really nurturing to me right now for financial reasons,
Yeah.
for being around people. Like,
Mhm.
see, I told you I was learning from the bosses and like seeing like
Mhm.
how they deal with certain things. Like we had a so I work a lot of weddings. It's very much a weekend gig. Work a
Mhm.
lot of weddings as a bartender. One of our servers, I hope this like doesn't get out or I don't think so. But anyways, one of our servers got drunk on the gerb, which is like a super no-no. Nobody knew. Nobody knew
Yeah.
that this was happening.
Yeah.
He must have had like a problem, like a secret problem nobody knew about. Anyways, he clocked out, crashed a wedding, literally took the microphone at a black tie wedding from the people giving speeches and started just going off on his own little speech. Very sweet speech, but also like, what is happening? And so that was
Like they
so
didn't know
crazy.
him at all.
They didn't know him. Everyone was like, oh my God, what do we do? All of us, like, as staff members, were like, well, we just need to continue working because we're busy, but like, also, what just happened? And
Mhm.
so, watching the supervisors handle that was really interesting. Like, they handled it with grace and ease. And I don't know what I would have done in that situation. I
No,
have,
that's pretty rough.
it's pretty rough. So it's just it's been really cool to realize that like this season has been a lot about just going with the flow and just not caring. And I think when we don't care and I don't know, it's not caring.
Right.
Like it's more about just like
I
I
think it's
feel like
releasing our stories and our the things that we've chosen to believe as true and being
yeah.
flexible that like different seasons and phases of our life are going to require different needs and like that's okay and like shifting and pivot and it comes back to like the pivoting conversation which we've done a
Mhm.
lot of this year like there's nothing wrong with shifting things and shaking things up and I actually think that when we see people do that it gives us a permission slip to be like oh wow that does make me think about my life too like what's not working what is and what a blessing that we have the ability to make those changes because I know for not everyone can just like change their job on a whim like that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah. So, Bridget, speaking of, you are always doing like a million different things in the back end. It actually cracks me up because like we talk every single day and I do not know what you do half the time. Like I do, but I don't. Like I know that you do the financial dad stuff. I know that you have yoga. I know that you are doing breath work on some morning. Like you have a lot going on. So for you, like how does that all feel? Have you thought
Mm,
about what you want to do next year, like what you have the capacity for?
yeah, that's been interesting to think about all these things. So, yes, I have thought about all of this. I've been teaching the same yoga place for 7 years
Wow.
and I love it there. It's been fantastic. I do think I will go back at some point. I just don't know my timeline. Because even the girl who works there was like, Bridget, it'll probably be nice for you to get out of the house. Like, come
Yeah.
here, just like teach, just show up for an hour, come teach. I teach for a veteran nonprofit and I teach breath work once a week. So I've basically been creating classes so that they can be using them when I'm gone. Um,
Wow, I didn't know that.
yeah, so I like have created all these like themed classes. They're like 30 minutes long. Like we have a class for resiliency, a class for gratitude, a class for strength. Yeah. So just doing that, like trying to like prepare things so that I could still be supported a little bit. But also knowing that I probably won't have the capacity to be. But what does feel exciting, which I've never like let myself think is cool because my identity has been wrapped up in entrepreneurship for years, is I think I want to like work for someone else. Like I think I want someone else to like tell me what to do. I think I want the freedom as a freelancer. Like I want to like work from home. That still feels really good. I want to be a freelancer, so I'm not totally employed, but I would not mind working on some projects behind the scenes where, yeah, I'm breastfeeding the baby, doing some things, but I don't need to think. And I just
Mhm.
think that's the season I'm going into. And that has been the most humbling revelation for me in probably my adulthood because I have been an entrepreneur and identifying as one for the last 7 or 8 years.
Wow. And there are different stages of burnout. Like, I have spoken to entrepreneurs that make a bajillion dollars that burn themselves out.
Mhm,
And then I've talked to people that don't make a lot of money and
mhm,
they've burned themselves out.
mhm.
And I think when it comes down to entrepreneurship and burnout and things, like you get exhausted with certain types of roles. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if it's necessarily like it's never the same story, but the end result is burnout. And I think we've personally tried so hard in different areas. And like visibility on purpose has always been our passion project, if you will. And we do make money, of course, from it. But it is not the only thing that can sustain us, which is just like
Yeah.
transparency. Like that, it is what it is. We have courses and they're low ticket for a reason because we want people to be able to afford PR and be able to get the same results as big business owners like Elon Musk and Nike. Like we talk about this all the time. And so we priced it that way, knowing that this could be the case, and that's totally fine. But in terms of burnout, like I think we're both just really exhausted with like the sales cycle and things have changed in entrepreneurship and on in the online space. And I know everybody is feeling this where courses, when they first kind of boomed in 2020, it boomed for a reason. Everybody was home. And so everyone was like, well, I can learn how to do this on my own. I
Yeah.
can DIY
Yeah.
this. I can DIY this. And there are absolutely still people out there DIYing. I will buy courses and things when I need them,
Yeah.
when I have an interest in learning something new. But it's not the same market as it was in 2020.
Yeah.
And so for us, our burnout phase has been just like sales and like it being really hard.
hmm And just like being like, there's got to be other ways. And we
Mhm.
know our product is quality because, first of all, this is the exact things that we personally use. Lydia uses it with her clients. I
Yeah.
use it for myself. Like, we know that this is extremely valuable and valid information. Um,
And our clients use it and they all get
yeah,
results. Like
like
it's not like a no surprise there. Like this product is freaking amazing.
it really is. And I'm very proud of it. Like, I would, what's the phrase? Like, I don't want to say die on the hill for it, but like, I'd go to,
I go
I'd,
to
I'd,
bat
I'd
for this,
I go to bat for
whatever.
it. I'd stand
Yeah.
behind it. It's not shitty, it's not gimmicky, it's not fluffy. It
Nope.
is a
No
really,
fluff.
really, really good course.
Right, a really good course, but we're both in a season of just letting things be easy and using our natural skills,
Yep.
and letting our natural skills shine through instead of trying so hard. And I think, Bridget, you're naturally a leader, and even if you were to like pick up some roles where you are doing things for other people, you're going to naturally fall into a leadership position, whether it be you're at the top or whether it be they just trust you because they know that you can be a troubleshooter and you're very good at coming up with solutions, seeing things in a different way than others. You're not a person that's going to like need the checklist and then you're like, okay, what else can I do? Blah,
Mhm.
blah, blah. Like you will just be a self-starter and just
Yes.
be a leader in that respect. And so, yeah, it's
Everything is good. My mantra of the year has also been like, there's no problem here. Because I
no,
think there have been times when naturally we get ourselves like roped into like, oh, fuck, it's not working. Like, oh, what the heck? What? Like, that kind of like combative energy with ourselves around our expectations versus reality. And I think what I've come back to every time is like, there's really not a problem here.
no.
Visibility and purpose is still going to exist. We're still going to have this podcast. Plan is still have this podcast, by the way, everyone. So keep listening.
Yeah, this is
Um,
not going anywhere. We're
this is
obsessed with
not
the
going
podcast.
anywhere. And if you like Lydia and I just like bullshitting, we're happy to be here every week for that.
Every week, I literally told Bridget, I was like, I am so excited to catch up with you.
Can't wait to just be a lifestyle podcast. We'll talk about business, but that will be there. And we're still gonna have our course. So if you are a small business owner and you've been looking into PR and you're like, I don't even know where to start, like we have like a really, really incredible course. We're highly, highly biased, and we know that we're highly biased, but we truly, truly believe in this product. Like
Mhm,
I would go to bat for it. I would stand behind it. I would do a lot for like what we've built and created. So nothing is really changing. It's really just more like where our energy is
mhm,
going to be spent more. So like obviously I'm about to have a child. So I'm going to be a mother too, and like I'm
mhm.
allowing myself to be in that season and be really excited about it. And I'm still also like a very driven businessy person. So that's
Yeah.
not changing. It's just going to look a little different. And Lydia has this incredible agency. She has worked with such amazing, amazing clients. Like she knows what she's doing. So now she gets to like focus a little bit on building the agency in 2025.
Oh, thanks. And I think about it too, like everyone experiences things differently.
Yeah.
So like what for us feels like a big pivot or like, you know, it's what we're talking about here isn't all about money, even though I was like, well, I got like a side gig, blah, blah, blah. Like
Mhm.
somebody else in my position would be so grateful with what has like come in this year.
Yeah.
And same with you, so, so grateful. And I am really grateful. I'm very grateful. I know that what we do is like awesome, and others
Yeah.
would be like, what the hell? This is like mind blowing. But we have to do what's right for us, and we have to
Yep.
just like listen. And back to the thing that you said about intuition, just being okay with like feeling in our feels or like
Mhm.
adjusting when needed or pivoting when needed and just listening to ourselves. Everyone's in their
Yep.
own experience. We just so happen to experience things pretty similarly, which
At
is
the
pretty
same
cool.
time. Well, I also love Lydia usually does like a card pull each month, and I want to share this with everyone because I think this is funny. So we started to have some of these revelations about like, something's like needs to shift and wiggle. And this was November-ish timeline. And she was like, I did a card pull for November, but like I kind of didn't want to say it because it kind of scared me a little bit. I think you said that, or at least felt that way. Because she was like, I pulled the death card for us. And we've done enough of these card pulls throughout our life that that's not scary. It's just like,
No.
oh shit, like something's about to change. And we didn't even like really realize what that was until we had a call with one of your like dear friends. And he just helped us like see the perspective and be like, yeah, like what's working for you guys, what's not working. And that's where like a lot of these shifts toward the end of the year have finally come in. But yeah, it's just funny. Just funny.
Yeah. So I love pulling cards, and this entire year I've been pulling like a month review for myself, and
Mhm.
every single month is just like the death card for me only, not for VOP. And I'm like, it's just like a joke at this point. Like I'll text my friend and just be like, guess what I pulled? And I'll just send her like a death emoji. And I'm like, this is just who I am at this point. Like
Yeah.
every month, letting something go, doing something else, getting
Yep.
humbled. Like I'm not even shaken by it anymore. I'm just like, cool, we're
Yep.
pivoting. But that's never the case for VOP. And
Mhm.
so in November, as me and Bridget do, but we had a comeback, we had a
Yeah.
comeback. It was really quick, but we were like, all right, we're going full swing into everything. We're talking to a lawyer, we're doing this, we're doing that, we're moving this business forward, blah, blah, blah. And we had all these big conversations in
Yeah, we were
November.
about to like redo our website, do a whole SEO like revamp of
Yep.
everything. And we were about to pour a lot of money into stuff, which is great and fine.
Yeah.
I think it's funny.
Right, right, right. Like we were about to pour so much money into it. And I had my friend Sheldon like have a call with us. He's a freaking brain. He does like something with cryptocurrency. He also is like big on tech. He's had like multiple businesses at this point, and he is no stranger to raising millions of dollars with investors. Like he's just incredible. But anyway, I was like, hey, it's kind of weird. We can pay you if you want, but like, can you have a call with me and Bridget? I think we just need to like talk some things through as entrepreneurs. He's like, Lydia, get out of here. Like, we'll just have a free call. And I was like, God bless you. So, anyways, we had a call with him, and honestly, I feel like in terms of like saying anything. There was nothing like revolutionary that happened in the call. I think it was more just us telling him what was going on and then having our own like our own revelations of what was
Yeah.
happening. But
Yeah.
after that call, we both reflected and we were like, wait, actually, this is us going into our old patterns of like forcing again. And instead of really just listening to ourselves and what we need right now. Yeah.
So here we
And
are.
so here we are. And then I realized why I pulled the death card for visibility on
Wow.
purpose. It was
Yep.
us just being okay with shedding things away that need to, yeah, trimming the fat is what we've been saying.
Yeah. So here's what is again staying podcast, staying YouTube. Still loving YouTube. Hopefully when they have this baby, I'm still gonna like love making these YouTube videos, but our YouTube channel has grown a lot. Like it's really, really fun.
Wait, Bridget, speaking of predictions, TikTok is going away or supposed to.
Oh my God.
Um, yeah, at the end of this year, it's supposed to be gone. And so a lot of creators are going to YouTube. I
Oh,
think it's getting a second
awesome.
wind. I know. I think it's getting a second wind in January. And we've talked about this. We've talked about how there's the shiny object syndrome. So people went to TikTok because it like
Mhm.
boomed or whatever. And it was like easy to grow. And it was the shiny object
Mhm.
syndrome. Same thing with like Instagram every time they revamp the algorithms. But what's been true is YouTube is SEO based
Yeah.
and it's been here for a long time since
Yeah.
it's I would love to look at like analytics of YouTube, but since what it came out in 2007 or something like that, it's
Long
really only
time.
gone up,
Yeah.
and creators that are on there have been on there for a very long time and haven't really pivoted. So not to say you should go to YouTube, but I think YouTube is a great option for businesses and here to stay. So we'll be hanging out on YouTube.
YouTube and LinkedIn.
Yeah, we love
Hang out with
LinkedIn.
us. Come hang out with us. I've even like wanted to like not even have a Facebook account anymore. I'm like, should I just delete this thing? Maybe I'll
I don't
just
use
delete
it.
it.
I don't
Let me
use
just
it.
delete it. I'm like, that could get really
Actually,
nice.
the only thing I use it for are
Birthdays.
groups and
Oh,
birthdays. Wait, birthdays are very important. God
that is
bless.
important.
But there are some like publicist groups that I'm in that I really enjoy.
Yeah, those are good.
But also, like
Mm.
a lot of people have moved over to Slack channels.
Loving Slack. Yeah, there's all these different
Loving
just
Slack.
simple things emerging. I think a lot of business owners are craving simplicity right now. So it's like LinkedIn, you don't need a pretty Canva graphic. You just write something. It's like Twitter, which
Yeah,
was great back in the day. Slack, you just
we love
write
it.
something. Just communicate.
Yeah, I think we're all in a stage of like 2020 to 2023. It was like more is more. And then
Yeah.
2023 to 2024 has been an evolution of less is more.
Yep. And we are definitely, definitely feeling it. Wow. Well, this was fun. I have to pee again, so we have to start wrapping this up because this is where we're at.
Yeah,
Can you
I mean,
believe
I think
it?
we did like a solid hour, so we can definitely wrap this up. So to round it out, Bridget, what did we?
What did I
Yeah.
just say? Okay, here's what we talked about. We talked about some of the themes for the year, which were like flow, detachment, support, surrender, pivoting. Those were all really, really there for us. We talked about what we learned about ourselves. Even like what surprised us, I think we mentioned that. And we talked about what we're going into 2025, like excited about, which I think is a little bit of an identity shift for both of us.
Yeah. A big identity shift. We also will be adjusting the website to be a lot easier to navigate. I think because we more is more it. Like last year and the year prior, there was so much going on. It was honestly like kind of hard to navigate. And so we'll be changing that to just be very simple, everything towards the course, because that's our baby. That's what we've focused on the past 2 years. We poured our blood, sweat, and tears into that. Not really, but like we poured a lot of heart into it. And so If
It's
you,
really good, guys. It's like really, really good. I sometimes I
it's
just
so
go and
fun.
watch the videos because I like want to be
Oh
reminded how to do something. No, I'm not even kidding. And
my
I'll be like,
God.
oh my God, this is
Yeah.
so good. Like our videos are really good.
Yeah.
It's not just us talking. Like we have a lot of instructional videos of
Yeah.
how to use certain platforms, like how to reach out to the writers
Yeah.
or what to write and include in a pitch, and just like little things that, yeah, it's just really good.
You know what surprised me? Like, I did an entire video on subject lines, which I didn't think I
Yeah.
was going to do. And then when we were talking about like the process and the step-by-step process it takes, we were both like, oh, okay, this needs to happen and be a
Yeah.
thing. And it was so freaking good. I put it into categories. I was like, one can be an educational one can be like a like trendy one. I'm like, I will sometimes go back and watch that one because I'm like, damn,
Yeah.
I'm smart. Like, who knew?
I know it's like you go into these like wormholes when you create this stuff sometimes too. I'm like, wow, that was really smart. Like I made this video of like I think I called it something very Bridgety. I'm like the cross-functional the cross-functional
Very
like
much.
impact of PR. And I talked about how like
Yes.
if you can understand how to pitch yourself or your brand, like this influences every part of your life. For
Every
you to
single
feel
part.
more confident, like walking into a room, going to a networking event, I don't know, talking at the store, like hosting an in-person event, like all of what we teach is has an all-encompassing cross-functional
Cross-functional.
impact.
Yep, it really does. So we'll leave it there. We would love to hear your personal reflections of
Mhm.
2024, especially if you're
Yeah.
feeling any of this stuff, because I think it's more of a like collective shift that we're having
Yeah.
right now. It's yes, me and Bridget, we're going through some stuff. And we got a little deep with you in this episode. But if you've also been feeling like you need to pivot, strip away, any of that, like send us a
Mhm.
message. I'm just curious.
I'd love to
And
know. I love when people reply to our emails too, because sometimes I'll be like, reply to this email. And I love when people reply to our emails.
me too. It's so fun. It's so fun. Well, I think we've created such a special community where
Yeah.
like we really do talk to like everybody in our email list, like at some point
Yeah.
or another. Like we're chatting with people.
Huh.
It's clients that have our program and they're like sending us wins. So
And it's
anyway,
like we would love to like probably be friends with you. Like we'd likely be friends with you at the end of the day. You know,
we
like
are
our
friends with all of our
we're
clients.
humans. Like
We're friends with everyone.
we're just two 30-year-old humans doing our best. And yeah, like we'd probably love to like grab some coffee with you too.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, love to grab some coffee. We love the in-person stuff.
Love
So
it.
cheers to 2025, Bridget and everyone. Ooh. Cheer, wait, this is hilarious. My mom's cup, breakfast wine. I will leave this with everybody. My mom makes her own wine, and she has like an entire 100 bottle case or like wall of wine in her house.
I love that. Good for her.
I know. You know, what I will say is I feel like our parents have gotten both of our parents have gotten into their own like second wind of life. My dad is the quietest man on earth. The other day he calls me and he goes, "Oh yeah, I'm doing a improv class." I was
I
like,
love
"What?"
that. That's amazing. Well, 62, right? I think all our parents are somewhat near that age.
60s,
That's
70s,
the
yeah.
second Saturn return.
Really? 62.
Well, do 20 whenever you hit it. So I think I was 28 when mine came
Oh,
around.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I would be
Me
like
too.
56. But some people it's like 30. So then the second time around would be like
Yeah.
60. So
Oh wait, you know what? I think that mine was it was interesting. Me and my brother went through our Saturn returns at the same time, but he's 2 years younger than me. So I was on like the older side and he was on the
Mhm.
younger side. He got married that year. Like
Yep.
a lot of things changed. And for me,
Yep.
I moved to Florida. So it was like it was cool to see the changes happen between the two of us.
Mhm.
My brother's not spiritual at all. So he literally hates astrology. When we bring it up, he gets like genuinely pissed off.
Same with my brother. Wait, did I
All
tell you
right, all
my
right.
brother, but when I talked about the chiropractor, my brother's so analytical that, and I was like completely anecdotal. I was like, Luke,
Yeah.
like the chiropractor during pregnancy has been really helpful for me. He's like, I don't believe in that. And I'm like, I'm not telling you to believe in it. I'm literally just saying
It
an
was
opinion
helpful for me.
of me. And then that night, he sent me a like 20-page text message of his research that he did around chiropractic and prenatal. And he was like, wow, I
Yeah.
actually do see the studies where this is beneficial
Yeah.
for lower back pain and certain injuries. I'm like, oh my God.
Well, I'm happy that you've realized it. Like, your mom literally works for a chiropractor. That's hilarious. He's the youngest, right?
No, my sister is the youngest.
Really? He's
Yeah.
middle?
Yeah,
Why
Luke's
did
the
I think
middle.
he was the youngest this whole time?
No, he's middle. He's middle. But you and my sister are the most
Yeah.
alike.
I
Actually.
demand to meet Luke and your sister, of course, but like I must meet Luke in 2025.
He's
He's in
really
New
so great.
Jersey.
He's really so great.
You'll meet Joe. We'll
Yeah.
do a little swap with the brothers.
We'll just do like a family should we do a family gathering?
Just not tell them and just invite them all somewhere. Just make them all hang out.
We're like, this is our second marriage, so we wanted to make sure our families knew each other.
We just have a wedding for ourselves, but not tell them. Just invite everyone. That'd be so funny. We'll have a rehearsal dinner. It'll be fine.
I think that'd be great. I
I
love
think that'd
that.
be great
We
too.
can do
All
like a
right.
toast. Okay. Bye, guys.
We gotta go. Okay, we love you guys. Thank you for listening to another episode of Visibility Era, the podcast. Shoot us a DM.